before we get to the end of our day, I want to ask you guys, what do you think you've learned in this class? What has been, what have you learned in all this?
I think that I learned to trust my intuition a great deal more, and to look at the symbolism, which I sometimes say, but go, nah, that couldn't be. No, it could be. And pay a lot more attention to the symbolism in nighttime dreaming and the daytime dream.
Let us, yourself, know.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Dreams are a pool. We are creating our reality with our dreams. Let's dream big.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what you taught me. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
You've taught us that like it's all a dream, and we really need to just pay much more, slow down, pay much more attention to all of the moments of each day and what it reflects back to us about our consciousness and who we are and what we're here to do in each day and each moment.
When you went through that list of all the different uses for dreams and the tips, I've had the things that you listed as being useful for dreams, I've had so many of those different experiences, and it just helped me to kind of see it all as of one piece, where it brought the everything's a dream into a much richer realization for me. It just really brought it home, and so I thank you. I was so pumped last night. I actually remembered 2 dreams.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, keep going.
The importance of dreaming is a guide to myself.
Ooh.
And I've never been a person who could remember my dreams, but in the last month, and I've been writing them down, but in the last month, I'm remembering them. Sometimes they surface during the day.
Yeah.
And they I can go through them in the waking time in my
very
head
nice
again.
That's how it is for me a lot.
Thank you.
Trained myself to, like I said, when I'm brushing my teeth, they come. So yeah, very good.
I love having some new tools to analyze. I typically remember my dreams and write them down. And sometimes it's super quick, what it means. But often, just as often, I just I just write it down and forget it.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
And I love that 12 scenes as well. Going through like your waking life, because so often my waking life and my dream life, it's the same energy in different places.
Right.
People. Yeah. But they look different.
I know.
So thank you for that. I'm so looking forward to using those tools.
All right, very good.
There was something that struck me yesterday, that when we came back from break, and you said the thing about Morocco, the headline that you saw about the earthquake and all that. You said 3 things, and it was basically Morocco, or what I heard: Morocco, earthquake, and then a roof caving in. And it just occurred to me, and I've already realized this, but kind of like current events and the way that the names of things, the names of places, the things that are happening. Like when you said that, I thought about it. I'm like, Morocco could mean like you could say it's meaning my rock, or more rock. Maybe there's more rocking to come. The earthquake is like shaking of all the foundations of everything.
Oh,
and the roof caving in is like everything's coming down. So kind of like maybe in a way it was like a way of communicating a message.
It is.
Whether you realize that consciously or not.
Did any of you at all get struck by how quickly a dream unfolds? Most dreams last somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Look at what you put together, the symbolism that you haul into that represents what you're creating. That to me is just astounding.
I've known the power of dreams, but I've never disciplined myself to write them down consistently.
Yeah.
So, and then to take that, even though, you know, I look for messages during the day from different things that I encounter, probably more hearing wise, because I'm more auditory, but to take that whole day thing, and that was really inspiring to me. And I have to agree with what somebody else is almost like, oh, I don't know if I want to look at my life.
Yes,
I
you
don't-
do.
So I want to start taking, one thing I've known for many years that I don't do enough of, and this class has helped inspire me, is to take my life and dream more.
Oh.
Because I often don't remember my dreams.
Okay.
And I've often accused myself, or whatever the appropriate judgment is, of not dreaming enough in my everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
Of where I want to go and what I want to be.
I have to say something. If you start dreaming more in your everyday life and you start stepping out of your box, your dreams will become, your night dreams will become very, very much more powerful. You will remember them more. As long as you're not doing anything unusual or different, your dreams start to become very quiet and boring. As soon as you do something like, let's say you're going to travel to, I don't know, let's make up someplace, Muku Muku, somewhere in South America or whatever. That's all of your senses and all of your frequencies are now paying attention, and that shows up in your dreams. I want to share what I was teaching. So as much as possible, think back on the analysis of the dream that we looked at and the 12 scenes from a day in the life, and just become aware that you are a conscious energy form. You are a form, you're conscious, you're distinct, you're unique. You live and play with the energies at hand. And what are you doing? You're creating a reality. It's for yourself. You want to join a reality system, you got to join. Means you got to join in. So why do you do this? Why? Because it's the nature of consciousness to create. Consciousness, that's what it does. It's going to create. First thing it's going to do, if you stay out of body too long, is create a body. Then it's going to start creating experiences for that body to anchor that body. So, because you are source material, you're the stuff of the I am, and its goals are to create worlds. Why? Because it can. Because that is the nature of life. Life is a system that recycles you and everything in it, you know, back into form and out of form and into form. And source evolves as we evolve. Okay? So here's some of the things that that I was teaching in this class. Reacquainting you with your body-mind system and how it works as a vehicle of consciousness. Next is to more deeply understand frequencies. You're just a pile of frequencies. And I said, I probably shouldn't say it like that, just a pile. But that's your base. That's where your power is coming from. Use that power. I'm hoping that you will begin to get a basic grasp of electricity, magnetic fields, filaments, particles, and patterns. Go back to intuition 2 and intuition 1. That's we come into being through a process of assembly, and it starts with those currents. I'm teaching the language of energy, and that's displayed in every single form all around you, and the forms that appear in your mind as messages and information. That's all the language of energy. What are you tuning into those for? Why are you hearing those voices? Why are you hearing those thoughts? Why are you hearing, something out of the future or something out of the past? That's information that you need for some reason. Ask yourself why. the goal here is also to introduce techniques and concepts that you can use on your own, in your work, in your business, you know, in your personal life, in your relationships. I also am teaching focus. Get focused, stay focused, use focus, focus on what you want to focus on, focus for a minute, focus for a long time, but learn to focus at will. I'm also teaching you to merge and to separate. You merged into the rock, into the earth, into the water, into the planet, and then to separate again. You don't have to be afraid about losing yourself. Merge in, separate out. I'm teaching how the construction of symbols can be used to work with consciousness. For example, constructing a knob on your brain to raise frequencies. Construct the kinds of symbols that you can use to work on yourself, in other words. I'm teaching how to tune in and pick up whatever you can, and then to recognize what you picked up. I'm teaching the habit, big habit, of writing down what you saw, heard, felt, knew, or understood. Why? Because when you take an action and you put that together with a perception, you anchor it in your reality. All that information that you went after and learned is anchored in your reality when you write it. You could also cook it. You could clean it. You could build it. You could paint it into your reality. But there has to be physical action. The field of miracles for your money isn't going to pay you back too much. You are the miracle. Okay? Teaching you how to send telepathic messages, especially to beings outside our system. I'm teaching you how to introduce yourself as a habit. A habit called for by good manners and psychic courtesy. Be polite. Just be polite. It's a way of presenting the self in a clear, non-combative, and non-aggressive way. And it's people who don't introduce themselves who don't get heard. You have to have that moment of vulnerability. And then other things and other beings will listen, and they'll pay attention, and they will respond. I'm teaching how to demonstrate the fact that everything dreams. A day in your life is a dream. I'm teaching how to pay attention to sound, to color, to action, to feel, to names, etc. I'm teaching a mechanism for clearing, reminding you, wipe your whiteboard, pull down the shade, close the blinds, etc. Use those mechanisms. If you need something to protect yourself, if you're afraid, construct something to protect yourself. You will be surprised at how well that works. You will remember, oh, I did something to keep myself safe. As soon as you remember that, you are safe. Okay, I'm teaching you to recognize that all form is consciousness. That's a big thing. All form is consciousness. I'm teaching you to stretch that consciousness into other dimensions of life, such as rocks, water, planets, ETs. Stretch that consciousness. You're not limited here. If it gets boring, you got nothing to do, go visiting somewhere. Make friends with the neighbors. I'm teaching you to I'm introducing the concept of experiencing other states of being. Learning how does it feel to become water, ice, or gas? How does it feel to be a rock? Etc. What about a planet? I'm also teaching you to just practice putting your consciousness elsewhere, then returning to perform normal tasks like writing. back and forth, so that you do not get caught up in that. I have to have 4 hours of absolute and utter silence and sit on a cushion with the right music, and nobody's talking to me and the phone's not ringing. You know, you never get anywhere if you got to have all that in order to have a moment of intuition or insight or an altered state experience. You know, expect it in your kitchen, in the middle of something you're cooking or whatever. So practice putting your consciousness elsewhere and then returning to perform normal tasks. I'm introducing you to other forms of consciousness. Water, rocks, planets, they don't quite think the way humans do, but they have their own consciousness and they communicate. So getting introduced to other forms of consciousness is very, very important. Also introducing you to people from other dimensions. My people have said, if you don't reach out, we're not reaching down too much. Disclosure is personal. Disclosure is personal. It comes one person at a time, understanding, oh, there's people out there. And when you start by seeing the craft, or you start by getting picked up and going on board, you're making progress. You're beginning to connect. Those are the people that they're interested in. They're interested in the people who are interested in them. Teaching you to reduce vague fears and worries about everything. I'm teaching you to stretch or even abolish any ideas or beliefs that think of humans as the only form of life in the universe. We are surrounded by life. I'm teaching you to establish a perception that goes beyond a planet. How are we going to come to peace, come together, if you think this is all there is? We can't. You have to get outside the box far enough to see back in and see what's happening. And then you'll be like, oh, wow, we need to do something different. I'm introducing the solar system and the galaxy as an active part of our reality, because they are. The solar system, the whole galaxy, you're a part of it and it's part of you. I'm teaching you to move beyond the limits of your early programming. And that's a big deal also. More on that in the next class. I'm teaching you to increase your sensitivity to the environment, your environment, and all the things in it. You're in that environment for a reason. If you're in a place that the environment is kind of dead and you're awake, wake it up. It's the whole thing has to come back to life. It's one of the things I learned from the elves. And the last thing, introduce a subtle awareness of history and historical experience as more than just human history and human experience.